today we're going to talk about perfumes that we're never ever getting back together. I gave them a fair shot. I never buy perfumes to hate them. I'm sure, you don't too. But sometimes, actually not sometimes, pretty often I buy them blindly, and it's like a roulette, right? You never know if it's going to work out for you or not.
Just in case you think I'm just like a budget or luxe designer perfumery snob, I am, but some of the niche perfume houses also will get it from me today. So, Juliet Has a Gun. I just showed it to you, well, just the last time we spoke, I showed it to you in the recent haul. I felt like I had to get something from the main line of Juliet Has a Gun. I don't know why I convinced myself that there must be something I must like. So I went for Lady Vengeance. And this is a case of just gross misjudgment. I knew that Juliet Has a Gun has half of the perfumes that have this kind of grubby, ambraxani, kind of like ambery, grabby, ambery scent that seems like skin-like, and yet it kind of like grabs into your skin and stays with you. The other half of their perfumes, it has this very grubby, a little bit sour patchouli / musk that also is super grabby, in that you either love it because it stays with you forever or you hate it. So that's kind of like the base that they have in their perfumes. And Lady Vengeance is probably one of the classic examples, and I really misjudged just how annoying that would be for me. So this is basically patchouli with rose, like if I had to simplify it. There's obviously more nuances to it than that, but I just smell a super vinegary, sour, kind of patchouli / musk. It's almost... Again, if it sits well on your skin, then you'll probably love it because it probably will mix with your own kind of flora and might open up a little into something a little bit more deep, a little bit more three-dimensional. On me, it's just super annoying and sour. And the rose, that is a little bit of a oily here, doesn't help the situation at all, right? It becomes like this sour green mossy rose, but not kind of the kind of moss that I love in different shippers. No, it's almost like moldy in some ways, at least to me. Not a big fan, but I must say I wasn't fond of the way that they package their perfumes before I got one. Once I got this bottle, it has really nice heaviness to it. It's basically a matte, I don't know what this is, maybe glass or I don't know what the bottle is made of, but it has, I don't know if you can see it, it has glossy kind of vines all over the bottle with the name of the perfumes. The lid is metal and very heavy, so this one actually would make an excellent gift if you're considering one. But when it comes to Juliet Has a Gun, you gotta try them before you buy them, because their grabby ambretta / patchouli / musky base is not for everyone. Some people love it, some people like me just can't stand it. It annoys me to death. I just can't wear it for long. Maybe for like a few hours at best, but these perfumes do kind of grab on your skin and stay with you for at least 6 hours, I would say. So this is kind of like love it or hate it situation. Unfortunately, didn't quite sit on me the way that I would prefer. So the next one, now we're gonna give some hate to a perfume that actually is quite beautiful, historic, and has a lot of significance in the history of perfumery. And this is Mahora by Guerlain. Absolute fetish in terms of the bottle. Long discontinued. I got myself a vintage. It's probably, I would say, still 1/3 in. One thing that I didn't take into account is that this Mahora not this particular one, but generally Mahora contains tuberose. Buying vintage perfumes is a very risky idea to begin with, because a lot of perfumes don't really preserve their top notes. The top notes are the fastest ones to decompose and kind of gone. They're gone very quickly, especially if the perfumes are not stored properly. And very few people buy perfumes to store them for archives. So most of the vintage perfumes are not quite the same as they used to be. They're not as vibrant, they're not as iridescent. Most of the vintage perfumes are missing those opening bright and crispy notes that every perfume is supposed to have, especially from the older days when it was like a classic way of constructing the top, the middle, and the heart. So this Mahora, I would say, is definitely missing some of the iridescence that I would expect from my memory when my mom wore Mahora like years ago. But it still got, like, it's almost like the heart and the base of this perfume got even more condensed, richer, heavier, darker almost. But unfortunately, that's exactly what kills me. The tuberose in here, with all of those exotic spices and resin heaviness and darkness, it just absolutely smothers me. If not for tuberose, I would probably try to wear it either way, at least, like dots on my hands that, like when I can control the distance and the intensity of the smell. But no, tuberose, unfortunately not. So this beautiful vintage bottle will probably look for a second home. A perfume that I bought after extensive testing and just still didn't fall in love with, actually fell out of love with eventually, is by the niche and historic perfume house Penhaligon's Levantium. That's kind of like a silly story. I really liked Across the Sands by Maison Margiela. They had a line that was sort of like a dreamy line, across sands, something about flying. I'm sure some of you remember that. So Across Sands was supposed to smell like really hot, spicy sand. The sand that is like melting under the midday sun in a desert. And it actually was just a classical combination of syrupy, sort of liquid, sugary, sweet base with echo of oud in it. And I fell in love with it, oddly enough, in that perfume, but I just refused to pay over $100 for that bottle, because it was just not that complex, it was not that unique to give that much money for it. So I started looking for a dupe with more pedigree. I can't explain that. I think I'm just, we all have something. So I thought, Penhaligons must have it, because they're known for their classic take on Eastern ouds that are very, very appropriate for more of a clean Western culture, so to speak. So usually the ouds in Penhaligon's lines are always very refined. That's the word I'm looking for. So Levantium is a really odd combination of opening with oud and then developing into dry flowers. So I feel something like carnation, geranium, things like that. So it's kind of like those, not the roses and the usual flowers that we think of, but more like these dried flowers. That's very unusual. To be honest, to date, I don't know a single fragrance that opens with oud, but then oud subsides and there's another story there. To me, it's super unique way of how this fragrance lives on the skin. But the problem is that I was looking for a sweet gourmandy oud that is not too heavy, that's a little bit cleaned up, and oud just doesn't last on me here. And I still miss that particular combination. Interesting note, a more expensive, I think it's limited edition, perfume by the same house from Penhaligon's. It's called Alsavira. Sawira. I think that's the name. Is very similar to Levantium, but like almost 2x more expensive. And that one, I think, is exactly what I want. I don't know why I didn't buy it. Oh yeah, I know, because 2x price difference. I thought that Levantium will do it, and I kind of really like the uniqueness of oud opening and then kind of like forget about it, and then we got dry flowers. I do like this idea, but this just doesn't quite make me love it. And at this point, I would rather explore other options of sweet oud, cleaner, darker, heavier, lighter, and just let this find a second home. It's really interesting, but it's didn't quite make me fall in love with it, even though among the ones that I'm showing you today, it's probably my favorite. But I'm still willing to part with it. The next one, I really tried. I did my best to become friends with Mugler's house. It's just not. Nobody can blame me for not trying. I bought probably over 5 of their perfumes, and slowly I still get rid of them one by one by one. So this is a flanker of Alien. I think this is Sublime. Yeah, Sublime. This is supposed to be a lighter, less sweet, a little bit more sunny version of Alien by Thierry Mugler. I got the bottle that was before Mugler sold the house to L'Oreal, so they're discontinuing and reformulating a lot of the classic Mugler scents. Keep in mind, if you're a big fan, you probably should consider if some of your best of the best are worth getting a backup. I'm not a big fan of the backup culture, to be completely honest with you, but just so you know. Anyway, if for example you would like to try Alien Sublime, you can get it from me for a really good price, because it's not working for me. These kind of like sweet, effervescent jasmine, it just drives me mad. All of the Aliens are super long lasting, very noticeable, very jasmine, sweet, heavy jasmine centric. And even the fact that the Sublime version is supposed to be the most like ethereal and lightest of them all still smothers me. It's just too much. To me, it's not the kind of jasmine that I can survive, despite the sort of a lighter formulation here. So anyone who likes more a souffle sweet jasmine, a little bit lighter than the classic Alien or Alien Essence, which is even heavier, even more resinous, try Sublime. But for me, no Aliens for me ever again. I'm done. The perfume that I kept for the bottle's sake, again, I do have a soft spot for beautiful packaging. When it comes to bottles, I kept it, and I kept hoping against any rational reason that I will be able to make it work. This is a Dalek Perfume de Toilette. Not sure how exactly that works. Parfum de Toilette. This is indolic, resinous, heavy amber perfume. The problem for me is the indolic part. You either make peace with it and somehow it works in your skin. I think that on hot skins, and maybe even in very hot but drier climates, this could open up beautifully. My skin doesn't really eat perfumes that much. My skin tends to be kind of like cooler, as people tend to categorize different types of skin chemistry. So this perfume just, it goes places. It's like hot trash, basically, with some restroom type of scents in there as well. So yeah, can't. It's beautiful in its construction. It's absolutely mesmerizing in the way that it looks. Did I tell you it's Salvador Dali, right? It's one of their iconic scents that everybody wants to have, everybody loves trying. It's more of a like classic pyramid that reminds us of like 70s, maybe a little bit of 80s. Beautiful, beautiful for those of you who like retro, vintage, you know, like if you like Mahora, you probably will love Salvador Dali. If you like more modern syrupy sweetness that is like reminiscent of Britney Spears, Victoria's Secret kind of stuff, that might be a bit risky. I can't say that. I think people who generally love sweetness and love, you know, like beast mode kind of perfumes always have a potential to love old vintage like heavier pyramids, but it's really subjective. It's up to you, but they're usually pretty cheap, very affordable. And I must say, the packaging, I wish these days packaging was as creative and as beautiful as it used to be. This one is Something Gold by Oscar de la Renta. I bought it completely blindly because I saw it for cheap. I think it was on Fragrance Net, and there's absolutely no information about it online whatsoever. So I like the bottle. The bottle is actually very heavy, and it's like almost like solid green gold. Beautiful bottle. Also comes with a ring. I just, you know, these kind of like semi-jewelry type of marketing ideas, I could live without. The fragrance itself, Something Gold by Oscar de la Renta. To me, this is the quintessential liquid, synthetic, sugary caramel something, I don't know what. I would say, just for the sake of how substantial and cool the bottle looks, if you like Victoria's Secret and Britney Spears and La Vie Belle kind of perfumes, it's worth getting if you find it for cheap, for example, on my Mercari. But it's so not my story. It's just not me. Like, I do have my favorite cheapies, and we can talk about it in the next video. It's not like all of my perfumes have to be super expensive or niche. No. But this particular profile, not my thing. I'm not a La Vie Belle kind of girl. The next one was another cheapie that I hoped I would love, but so far not working out between me and Elizabeth Taylor. Very cheap perfumes. A lot of them are called favorites. They're very affordable. You can buy them anywhere you want. You get a very generous size for what you pay. But this is one of those cheap brands that I feel, my humble opinion, is very quickly became dated. Even though with for example, Elizabeth Arden, they have so many wearable perfumes that just like withstood the test of time, and they're still dirt cheap. Elizabeth Taylor, not so much. But maybe that's just me. So the Black Pearl is supposed to be kind of like dried fruits, you know, dried apricots with amber, vanilla, so like this sweet, comforting winter scent. And it's an epic fail for me. To me, it's just this synthetic apricot sugar essence. I don't feel anything natural about neither the amber note nor the vanilla. It's just very synthetic for me. But you know what it reminds me of? If you like Kasmir by Chopard, you might like this one. And this is much, much cheaper than Kasmir. So they are within the same lines. It's kind of like this apricot-y jam with synthetic amber/vanilla. Super cheap. I think you can buy it for, I don't know, $15, $20. I probably will sell the whole thing for like, I don't know, 10. I don't care. It's just very boring to me, and again, like it's not really opening up. It doesn't have any depth or deliciousness that I like, so I also had I think White Diamond Sparkling, and that was a lilac soap. Absolutely hated it. But it went really well for the linens, actually. It gave them that fresh, just out of the dryer kind of smell. So I like that for that. But that's about it. So Elizabeth Taylor, at this point, we're done. We're done for a long time with that brand. The next one, I want to learn how to like it, but I just can't. I don't know why. This is the kind of like old school, but like, you know, with class, old school perfume. This is Parfum Sacré by Caron. Historic perfume house. We all probably heard of it. And there are like perfume fountains in their boutique that used to mesmerize people 2 centuries ago. So Parfum Sacré, and I'm even gonna make a little bit of a spritz here because I want to be able to wear it, but it's just not my story. It's so complex, so dusty, heavy, resinous, something. This is actually the example when it's almost too complex for me to enjoy. And it has also this kind of dusty, vintage, old treasure chest kind of smell to me. You know, like something you could find in the attic that was forgotten there for a couple of centuries. So that's what it smells to me. It's just, I dare say, too unique. I can't pull it off. I must say, this is something I would not recommend buying blindly unless you know that you love old school vintage perfumes and that kind of profile in olfactory design. This is very, very cool. The bottle is also, they repackaged recently. The lid is very heavy and it feels like ceramic or something. I like everything about it. The only thing that I would say, the name of the fragrance is just a piece of paper. It feels that it's just glued here. And the name of the brand is so small you can barely see it. If I was Caron, I would reconsider how exactly to display the name of the fragrance and the brand. But otherwise, sort of like this homage to how it all started, like a more vintage style shape, very heavy, beautiful lid, good spray. All of it is, I would say, delivers the kind of the old school, vintage, classic luxury. The scent itself, as I told you, definitely something to study, something to live with, something to admire. It's very long lasting, but it's very vintage. So if any of you guys tried anything by Caron or actually have used Parfum Sacré, please let me know, because I'm ashamed to admit it's almost too complex for me, at least at this point. So I don't want to hoard it if I can't wear it. If somebody buys it from me, it will find another, like a new home. If not, I will keep it and keep trying to sort of every once in a while spritz it, spray it, see if I'm mature enough, if I'm grown up enough to actually pull it off, because it's truly complex. It's truly interesting, but it's just, man, it's not easy. It's not an easy one to wear. I'm gonna leave it at that. Okay, one of the experiments that I had with Histoires de Parfums, this is a niche brand which I absolutely love the concept. I love the packaging. I do have a really good luck with their kind of dry herbal base to all of their perfumes, but this one in particular I didn't quite like. So I'm willing to part with this one, even though I probably have like 7 other ones. So this is a 15 ml that I got from their Opera collection. And I'm such a sucker for like old school luxury and like hard luxury like this. Opera and stuff. don't get me started. All right, so this one is 1890, the Queen of Spades. As you can see, all of their perfumes are packaged like little books or booklets. So, and I do like that even their miniatures or travel sizes have unique and signature styling. This is almost like a lighter in a way. I absolutely love that even if you're buying a teeny tiny size, you still get an authentic and very true to the brand experience. So 1990 Queen of Spades is oriental leather, feminine. For women? I mean, they're all unisex the way. Coriander, pepper, orange blossom, rose jasmine, patchouli, leather, incense, amber, musk. What not to love, you might ask. I don't know what to tell you. All the notes in isolation, it's something I should love. Yet together, it makes such an odd concoction of sweet, salty, something about it seems like it's not a well-proportioned salad of notes. You know, like sometimes the perfume can be complex, multidimensional, interesting, with movement, with story that kind of goes through time and space, and it captivates you. And alas, it's just a odd cacophony of too many things together. So for me, unfortunately, the Queen of Spades, even though it has such a dramatic and iconic name and beautiful composition, together it just doesn't work for me. I don't know why, and I can't even explain it to you because, again, you heard the notes. It seems like you cannot go wrong with that. It has to be this beautiful, smoky gourmand that is just everybody's favorite for the evening time, for the date night. It just doesn't quite sit well with me. So the 1980, I would love to find another home for it, especially given how beautiful and authentic the packaging is for the 15 ml that I got. And the last one for today. I can't believe I'm doing this. I thought I found my sweet Serge Lutens that I can finally stick with. I tried to love Serge Lutens for over 2 years. I bought over 17 of their perfumes, full size. And again, one by one, I got rid of majority of them. The only perfumes by Serge Lutens that work for me are the spicy ones. They are classic sweets and gourmands like Chergui, gosh, I can't even remember any of them. 5 o'clock, Amber Sultan, Arabi, just plain, round, synthetic, sweet note, which is very common in Serge Lutens. They also have a very recognizable sweet base that just annoys me, to be honest. It's very rare for me to like a sweet fragrance by Serge Lutens, and I thought I found one because this, which is Fourreau Noir, that they are actually repackaged and discontinued in the square, sort of rectangle bottles, and I got myself a travel size with a refill. So the Fourreau Noir, I hope I'm saying it correctly, by Serge Lutens is this dark black peppery, very, very heavy on dark spices and sweet note that is so typical for Serge Lutens. If you had any of their like super sweet classic scents, that's the kind of sweetness that you'll get here. But plus a bit of a hot, for some people maybe annoying black pepper spice and other spices, but that's what actually made it wearable for me. This kind of like hot black pepper spiciness refreshes it. It warms it up. That makes the sweet note not as flat and not as synthetic on my skin. But it's in this video for a reason. This perfume lasts so long that I only need, I swear to God, I only need 2 sprays. 1, 2. Well, actually 1, and just like rub my hands together. And that will last me the whole day. And if I do any more than that, the sweetness of this base just starts suffocating me. It's so potent, it's so robust and ever-present that I cannot really wear it in any concentrated fashion. It has to be just a hint of Fourreau Noir. Therefore, the travel size, well, it's not really travel size. So basically this packaging had 2 travel size bottles with 30 ml, 1 ounce in each of them. So 1 ounce that I already have in my travel size container is gonna last me basically like all my lifetime. So I'm willing to part with the second one because it's obvious to me that this is not an everyday fragrance for me, and those 30 ml are like more than enough. So somebody should probably enjoy it while I have one to share. Alright, this is basically it with the perfume fails that I had this winter. A lot of those unfortunately were new perfumes to my collection that I had very high hopes for. I was especially keen on liking something by Paco Rabanne because I don't know, I really wanted to find these like hidden gems for you, you know, something that you can buy anywhere, something that is really affordable, really cheap, and like really amazing. I actually dare say I did find a few options, but that's for the video with favorites. These ones unfortunately fell short in my book to stay in my collection. So we talked about roughly 15 perfumes here, and all of those you can buy super cheap from my Mercari. This will be, if you follow the link that I have in the description below, this will be the exact bottles that I showed you in this video. And basically I am preparing to move, so if you're really keen on trying some of these, buy them as soon as you can, because I'll be either gifting them, getting rid of them as soon as I can, because I don't want to carry all of these. Like, I have probably 40 perfumes that I would like to get rid of before I move, because I don't want to move them with me. I want to, again, do a bit of a declutter in my perfume collection so I can minimize the weight. I mean, hopefully it does work out that way. Maybe it doesn't. We'll see. You know, moving is a hell. It's just hell on earth moving. And I'm also moving cross country, so wish me well. Just wish me luck. Thank you so much for staying with me for this video. I haven't been in front of the camera for almost 2 months, so forgive if there were any like hiccups in this particular one. I think I'll get more into the groove of it as we go along. If you like what you see, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.